What I would do if I was gonna get my first deal in real estate. If you're just now getting into real estate, there's so many different ways to go. You've got multifamily, commercial, residential, mobile homes, you can bird dog, you can fix and flip, you can dispo, you can do acquisitions, there's so many different things, okay? So let's break it down at the very core and simplify it so much to the point where you're like, this is the easiest thing ever. And I want to preface with, it is not the easiest thing ever, and it's going to be insanely difficult. Not insanely difficult, but it's work. You're probably going to expect it to be, oh, I just do this and this. It's work. You have to work, and it's not easy. The concept is easy, but actually doing it is difficult. Okay, let's break down your personality types and what you should do based on your personality type. I am not a guy who goes on the phone and talks to people, but that's the route I went because that's the route the money was. I changed my personality to talk on the phone with people because that's what my personality was. I would recommend, there are so many different ways to get into real estate. If you are just getting started, then I would make a list of your personality types and like, are you okay? Every single route you go, you're going to have to talk to somebody on the phone. It's just a matter of how many people do you want to talk to on the phone. And at the end of the day, it comes down to the more people you talk to on the phone, whether that's other wholesalers, buyers, or sellers, you're going to make more money. It's a direct correlation to how many people you talk to on the phone equals more money. That's how real estate is. But there are routes where you talk to more sophisticated people or talk to less people. You're still going to talk to people. So if you can't get on the phone and talk to somebody, then don't go into this business. Because you're going to have to. So let's start out. If you're brand new, if I was brand new, I had $0 to my name. A lot of people will tell you, okay, you're gonna go and you're gonna pull a list and you're going to skip trace it, meaning you find the owner's phone numbers. You can go to PropWire, Deal Machine, Please Sponsor Me, whatever, and you can skip trace that list, meaning you pull the owner's phone number and then you call the owner and say, ring, 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 ring. Hey, John. Hey, John, this is Caden. I was driving around and I noticed that property on 123 Main Street, and I usually just say Main Street, 123 Main Street. Is there any interest in selling that in the near future? And then he'll say, F off, or sure, or something in between. I've had all the way to, I'm gonna find and kill your family, so you gotta be ready for that. That's what most people will tell you to do. That's how I started, was cold calling property owners. And I do think this is a good skill to know because it builds your thick skin up to the point where somebody can tell you, I'm gonna go kill your family, and you're like, because nobody's actually gonna do that, it's just words. But at the end of the day, it is tricky hearing that when you first get into real estate and you've got high hopes. So, I do think that is a good skill to learn. However, it is very difficult to get a deal that way. You have to call every single day, at least 10 contacts a day, so get on the phone with 10 people who are the property owner. It doesn't matter if they say F off or I wanna sell, you have to do that every single day. So that usually comes out to 100 dials. And if you're new, you're probably hand dialing. So it's gonna take 1.5 to 2 hours probably. So it's time intensive and you can get a deal this way. This is how I got my first deal actually, but it's not, if I was starting over, I wouldn't do it this way. Also, what I would do, I would probably call on market and just have conversations with agents. For the first week, every single day, just call 10 properties on market and just have conversations with agents. You can say, hey, I'm looking to buy a few houses in this area. Tell me about the house. And I mean, you don't even have to submit an offer, but an offer is what's gonna lead you to a check. So I just want you to get those reps in and get used to calling people on the phone because a lot of you aren't used to that. Once you have that done, what I would do, I would start cold calling after you talk to a few agents. So you get that reps in because an agent is going to be nicer to you than a property owner. And if you don't have thick skin already, then it's probably good to have somebody be nice to. So what I would do is for the first 7 to 10 days, I would call 10 properties a day listed on the market. And how do you pick your market? You can just go in your backyard. So let's say you live in Tampa, Florida, go to Zillow, type in Tampa, Florida, press enter, and then go over on Zillow to the side where it says sort by most relevant. Then you're gonna click lowest to highest and just start calling those. And just talk to the agents, get a feel for how these conversations go. If you take action and you fail, so what? Nobody cares. So that's what I do for the first 7 to 10 days. And this isn't to get a deal. This is just to, if you get a deal, then great. But this is just to get those reps in and talk to people about real estate, okay? Now, what I want you to do is for the next 20 to 30 days, I want you to cold call property owners while you're doing this agent. stuff. So every single day, call 10 properties on market and cold call, pull a list from PropWire or Deal Machine or something like that, and cold call property owners. And it's gonna suck and you're probably not gonna get a deal realistically, but it's getting those reps in because you have to go through that phase. I went through it, everybody's gone through it. You have to go through that phase of cold calling property owners. And it's not fun. I didn't enjoy it. Cold calling is not fun. Anybody who tells you cold calling is fun is either like psychotic or something else. So this is what I would do is cold call property owners for 30 days. So that's 10 contacts. You get on the phone with 10 people who say, I own that property, whichever one you're calling about. And then also call 10 agents that have properties listed. So 20 in total per day for 30 days straight. Now you have the reps in, you're getting a feel for it. Now, what I would do is I would join a Discord group for real estate and I would go straight and type in every single, couple of hours. You're gonna type in, is anybody hiring an acquisitions guy? I'm relatively new, I have hustle, and I have some experience. And you can join a team that actually feeds you warmer leads and you get like 30-40% for closing these leads. That is what I would do. That's what people don't tell you. If you don't have any money, you have to leverage other money, okay? Because money makes more money. If you're just sitting here cold calling, it could take you anywhere up to like 2 years to get your first deal. And I know guys who still haven't gotten their first deal and they're cold calling. What I would do is I would suck it up, join a team, 30-40%, and start calling warmer leads. These could be mailer leads, they could be cold caller leads, but they've already had contact or they're inbound leads. So they're gonna be warmer and they're gonna be relatively easier to talk to. And you're gonna get a feel easier. And then you can also pick that person's brain that is paying for the leads. You can say, hey, I'm relatively new at this, but I have the hustle. Can you just help me a little bit? I'm willing to take 20-30% per deal. And I understand you're saying, oh, okay, well, if the average assignment fee is $15,000, then 20% is like only $2,500, $3,000. Okay, get over yourself. You're new. Stop being greedy and figure it out. This is the fastest track to succeed. If I did this and I joined a team sooner, I would not be in the position where I am now. I would not be broke, okay? You will win if you have leads. If you have leads and you can get those reps in and you have somebody you can talk to, that you can get advice from, you will close deals. You will. As long as you have the hustle and the work ethic, then you will close deals. So that is what I would do when I started out. And once you start closing deals and you're probably doing one a month or something, that'll probably take, if you're doing the 30 days and then you join a team that puts you at, let's say 40 days, it'll probably be another 30 to 45 until you get your first deal. So you're looking at anywhere between 60 to 90 days to get your first deal and then another 30 days to get your first check. Probably about a third of a year to get your first check, and it's probably gonna be about $1,500 to $2,500. But this is the route that teaches you the most about talking to sellers and negotiating deals. And I think that is more important than, like, let's say working for one buyer and bringing him deals. Sure, you will get paid money for that, but you're not learning as much about the business and actually negotiating with people that have properties. So it doesn't really benefit you, right? And you're gonna get addicted to that. So I think you have to go through that hard phase. And let me rephrase this because people are gonna get scared off. The actual business model of calling sellers, negotiating them lower than buyers will buy them is easy. I mean, it should be simple. Hey, do you want $90,000? Okay, I'm gonna go sell it for $120 and make 20K. Or 30K, sorry. The business model is simple, but the action you have to take to get that money in your bank account is not easy. It's not hard. It's a lot of grinding and consistency and discipline and showing up every single day, but you will get paid. This business does work. So that's what I would do if I'm brand new in real estate. I think there's multiple different routes you can go depending on your personality. But in my opinion, I think that you have to go through this phase. And let's say in 120 days, you get your first check, it's $2,500 and you're like, okay, I'm not a huge fan of this. I kind of want to do something else. Okay, go. Do something else. But at least now you know how to talk to property owners. You know how to talk to agents. And so that these skills that you build up along the way will help you in the future. All of these skills that I have learned and the lessons I have learned have put me in the position today to create something that could be absolutely massive. And I'll reveal that once I start making money with it, but I have a feeling it's going to explode because nobody's doing it. My point is that you have to go through this hard phase, this difficult phase, because it's important It's important to your story, and it's important to your skill set to be able to do this. If you start networking with somebody and you've only been, bird dogging for one buyer, and you say, hey, I'm a bird dogger, then people are gonna be like, okay, that's great. But if you start networking and you say, hey, I'm bird dogging now, but I have experience calling sellers and I've closed deals direct to seller, then people are gonna be like, oh, okay, this guy's figuring it out. So I think that's important. I think those skill sets specifically in real estate are important because no matter what route you go, if you go into multifamily or commercial or mobile homes or residential or whatever, talking to property owners and negotiating deals is going to be the most important skill set that you can learn. Talking to people. If you don't know how to talk to people, it makes it way more difficult. That's what I would say if you're brand new in this business. And let's rewind a little bit for people who are like super new and they don't understand what even wholesaling is. So wholesaling, and I don't know my audience, it might be younger people, but if you know what drop shipping is, wholesaling is basically drop shipping real estate. You're the middleman, right? But if I have person A, the seller, the person that owns the house. So let's call the person that owns the house John. So I call up John and I say, hey John, would you consider an offer on your property? And he says, sure. And I negotiate him to $80,000 and we both agree on $80,000. Now, I send him a contract to purchase his real estate at $80,000. I say, John, sign this. He signs it via DocuSign or whatever. So now I'm under contract to buy John's house for $80,000. And I have something called an inspection period. So an inspection period means I'm allowed to inspect the property and I'm allowed to back out of the contract if something doesn't meet my guidelines for buying the property. So during this inspection period, which is typically 10 to 20 days, I'm gonna say, John, I'm gonna have some people walk through the property. I'm gonna have some contractors bid up the property. Maybe some of my partners are gonna walk through the property. So I'm locked up with John at $80,000. He's not legally allowed to go find another person that's gonna buy his house at $85,000 because we're under a legally binding contract, okay? So during my inspection period, I'm gonna go find Jerry, okay? So now we've got John and Jerry. I say, Jerry, I've got John's deal over here and I would like $90,000 for it. And Jerry says, $90,000, okay, that works. I'm gonna flip the property. That's what Jerry says. So now I do what's called an assignment contract. So I'm under contract with John and I say, Jerry, you wanna buy this for $90,000? So I'm going to do an assignment contract and I'm basically going to switch over the rights for Jerry and John to work together. Except they don't talk to each other. It's just assigning my contract over to Jerry. So now Jerry, he is the one who's going to be buying the house at $90,000. So then you wait for closing, and then at closing you get the difference of the two. So I was under contract with John for 80. I assigned that contract to Jerry, who's now gonna buy it for 90. And what's 90 minus 80? $10,000. So then you get wired the difference, $10,000 as an assignment fee. And that's wholesaling real estate. So I like to describe it to people who haven't ever heard it, who are younger, that is basically drop shipping real estate. Because when you think about drop shipping is, okay, I need a manufacturer with a product for $5 and the end person, and I'm going to be the middleman, buy the product for $5 and then sell it for $15, and I'm gonna make the difference of $10. So it's basically drop shipping real estate. Obviously there's different caveats to it, but at the core, that's kind of what it is. And that's just an easy way for people to understand what it is. So it's really, the business model is not complicated. Like your drop shipping, the business model is not complicated, but it's not easy. You have to be able to market, you have to be able to negotiate deals, and you have to be able to stay consistent and call property owners every single day. And that's kind of where people fall off, is they'll start and they think, oh, this is gonna be super easy. I just call up somebody, get it under contract at 80 and assign it for 90. But it's more reps than you think it's going to take. Our leads to a deal right now is, our leads to a contract is about 1 in 60, and our leads to a closed deal is about 1 in 110 to 120. So put that in perspective. If you're calling 10 property owners a day, then it could take you, anywhere from 12 to 30 days to actually get a contract. And then there's something called the cash conversion cycle. So that KPI, key performance indicator, doesn't even mean that you're going to get a deal after 12 days of talking to property owners. Because if you're cold calling, there's something called a cash conversion cycle, which basically means what is the time frame from when I make connection with John and I sell the deal to Jerry and I get paid, okay? And for cold call leads, that's 90 days on average. So you could call John and say, hey, I'm offering 80,000 for your property. He says, no, I want 100,000. And you're like, okay, I can't buy it at 100,000. And then 60 days later, John calls you back and he says, hey, I'll take the 80,000. And now you assign it to Jerry and you get paid in 90 days. So that's called the cash conversion cycle. So even if you make 120 contacts in the first 12 days, it doesn't mean you're gonna get a contract in the first 12 days. It could mean that you're gonna get a contract in 90 days from one of these leads in the first 12 days, if that makes sense. So there's a lot of little tweaks and things that make it more complicated than it sounds on the surface. And not to scare you away, it's a great business and it's relatively simple to get into, but you have to have good work ethic and you have to be wanting to close a deal, and you have to show up every single day and put forth massive imperfect action. So it is tricky, but you can definitely do it 100%, because I've closed deals before. You can definitely do it. So, and you could get lucky too, you know, your first 5 dials, you could have somebody that says, oh yeah, I want to sell. Like my second or third day ever doing it, I was at like 6 contacts, and the 7th contact, it went to voicemail. And the lady said, I was on the phone and I was like, hello, and it went to voicemail. And it was like, if you're calling about my property on 123 Main Street, yes, I'm looking to sell it. Please text me at blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, this business is so easy, because we almost ended up buying that deal, but we didn't, it fell through. But that was like the worst thing that could have happened to me, because then now my brain's like, oh, okay, I only need to half-ass everything. I only need to work half as hard, and this business is easy, but it's not. It's a lot of dedication and a lot of consistency. I mean, for example, I've been doing this for 1.5 years and I'm broke consistently every single day. Just to give you a perspective, that's what this business is. And if you are getting into real estate now and you're new, that is the route I would go. I would start calling agents on market, getting used to talking to agents, and then just be honest with them. Say, hey, I'm new. I'm looking to buy some properties and I'm new, and just, can you tell me about this property? I'm curious about it and I might buy it. And if you're new and you're honest, then they will be easier with you and nicer to you. Because if you kind of play off an agent's ego, then they'll be better to you. A lot of agents are very egotistical, so that's good to know. And then after 10 days of doing that, so that should be 100 dials to agents, you're going to now add in direct to seller, 10 contacts a day, so 20 total, 10 on market, 10 off market. And guys, when I say you're gonna call agents, you literally go to Zillow, click on a house, scroll down, it'll say listed by blah, 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 blah. Do not click request a tour. That's how agents get paid. Do not click that, they will be pissed. Just scroll down, and after the description of the house, it'll say listed by John Doe, and then the phone number, and then you call the phone number. It's that easy. And just call the agents. 10 days after that, you're going to go to Deal Machine. I believe you get a month free or something. And you're going to pull a list of property owners and start calling those property owners one by one. You can either hand dial or get a dialer. Mojo Dialer is good for that. It just speeds things up, basically. It calls like 3 people at once, and you don't have to hand type in the numbers. It automatically dials them, so it's just helpful. But you don't have to have that. Do that for 30 days, 10 contacts a day, 10 on-market contacts a day. So 20 total, and after 30 days, you'll be changed significantly. You'll be like, oh, I'm a real estate investor now. And you might not get your deal. After 30 days, now you're gonna go onto a Discord group. Facebook is really suspicious these days. It's still a great tool, but it's very suspicious. You're going to go onto a Facebook group or a Discord group, preferably Discord. You're gonna find somebody that is running a team, just post in there, hey, I'm relatively new, I have some experience, I want to join a team, willing to take 20 to 30% commission. And they're gonna feed you leads, and then you're gonna close those leads. And that's the fastest way to gain experience, is have leads that are already vetted, because you're not spending your time cold calling, and you can pick that person's brain that's feeding you leads. So that's the best way, I would say, if you have no money and you're getting into real estate. Yeah, I guess this video is already going pretty long, so I'm gonna cut it out for today because we've got 25 days left, so it's still a long way to go and a lot to talk about. I'm kind of running out of things to talk about. We'll figure it out. But if you are watching this video and you watched it to the end, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you at the top. And yeah. You guys have a great day. Have a blessed day. God bless you all. And time to go all in.